Welcome back to another episode of AIWF Mid-Atlantic Breakdown. I am Rick Diesel with my loyal sidekick, Reagan Dancy. Can I call you that?
I guess. I have become your. I don't know about. Maybe. I don't know. Loyal makes me feel like you're a general, and I've pledged my allegiance to you. But
The
I don't know.
evil,
Yeah, sidekick
evil
might. Yeah,
overlord.
yeah.
Okay, my esteemed co-host.
So.
How's that?
That's better.
That's
So
better. Good week for you?
yeah. I am on spring break. So yeah, but
You,
you know how it is when you can't make appointments during the rest of the year. I'm running around doing everything, trying to get my permits for my children done this week. So
I thought there was a chance you might be on spring break for the simple fact that I didn't have to uh, hesitate, delay the start of the show because you were yawning.
oh yeah, I guess not. It's because I'm getting plenty of sleep. So yeah, that's my usual thing right before the show. You're what are they calling it? Peeling away the I can't think of what it's called. Anyway, yeah, I usually yawn and you have to wait till I'm done. So
So we're taping this on a Tuesday night because of one of us, it don't matter who, had something else going on tomorrow night on Wednesday night. So we're actually taping this actually at the same time the Mid-Atlantic episode is premiering on the AIWF
yeah,
network. So
yeah.
unless we want to
It's
sit here and watch the live premiere, we're not going to have anything to talk about that.
no, yes.
But I will tell you this. The main event for tonight's episode of AIWF Mid-Atlantic on the AIWF Network on YouTube is the match from Ivanhoe, the pole match between Ty Tyson and Jeff Paul.
That is one that I hope everybody takes time to watch. That was a very interesting match. It was a I don't want to give anything away, but it's definitely one that you want to check out.
You do want to check
Definitely.
it out. Yes. So if you haven't checked it out, like I said, we're taping it at the same time. So if you haven't checked it out by the time you watch this on our normal Wednesday night, this episode is going to premiere Wednesday night. So if you're watching this, go over and watch it. It's really worth your while.
It is
Uh,
definitely worth your while.
so I've got a lot of positive feedback from Sebastian Kane last week. People
Oh,
really enjoyed.
yeah, I was telling Brian how charismatic he is. Like I know him from wrestling and I know him from just around, but like I don't he was before I came. Like I think he was already done. And then he was back with you guys when not we weren't coming around.
Hiatus.
So yes, in a hiatus. So Brian, I've only heard stories about him from Brian. I said, "This guy's man. He is charismatic. People could listen to him talk all day." So
Well, and that's why we are going to have him. We're going to schedule him to be back on again in the near future,
you
and or as quick as we can, and go with some more stories because that's just this the storytelling. And I know we're
know,
doing a lot of it now, but people are really liking that because the stories from back in the day. And we've got another guest coming on here in a couple of minutes. That from back in the day who we're going to talk to about how things were back then. And if there's anything you guys want us to talk about, please send me a message on Facebook or Reagan a message on Facebook or send something to, if you don't have either one of us on Facebook, then you can send it to the AIWF Mid-Atlantic Facebook page and tell us what you'd like to hear us talk about on here because, we don't always have topics and sometimes it would
mhm.
be good to
Yeah.
hear
Um,
what the fans want us to talk about.
yeah, because Joshua Bowman has been sending me clips of people doing dumb shit in wrestling. He was sending me some because he knew that we were looking at those on the Mad Matt show.
Yeah,
So
that's kind of
yeah,
Matt's thing. So
yeah,
so
but
yeah,
yeah, but
keep
anyway,
sending them to her though. They'll
yeah,
watch them
send me
over on the
anything.
ringside show. Definitely.
Yeah. But anything else, I'm always, I have no, well, I do have a life, but I do check my social medias regularly. So
Well, and we'll also, of course, unless you see something dumb that happens at a Mid-Atlantic show, and then you send us a clip of it, we might watch it.
yeah,
But anyway, I tell you what, let's go ahead and take our commercial break, get it out of the way, and when we come back, we have a special guest coming on board with us. All right?
awesome.
We'll be right back.
Jimmy Valiant, Boogie Woogie Man.
Legendary Boogie Woogie Man.
Wait a minute, baby. Wait a minute. Hang on.
What are you doing around
What was that calling you, buddy?
This is our neighborhood.
You done made a mistake.
You should be retired, Boogie.
Wait a minute, boys. Let me take a bite of my king dog.
Say King Dog?
King Dog?
Is that what you said?
What happened?
Come on, boy. Don't let hunger bully you. Get yourself a king dog, and you too can become a super hunger fighter.
Secondhand Heroes and Home for Wayward Villains is a comic book shop and gaming store that also features Magic the Gathering and D&D. Located at 18184 Leesville Road in Evington, Virginia, Secondhand Heroes is your one-stop shop for you to get your nerd on. Open 7 days a week at 11 a.m. They don't close until the dice stop rolling. They buy, sell, trade, barter, and haggle, specializing in collectible toys, both vintage and modern, comics, Magic the Gathering, video games, console, and arcade cabinets to play, all set to free play. Host your game night with us. Monday night D&D video game competitions, and so much more. Something for the collector and gamer in us all. Call 434-317-0121 or shoot us an email with any questions to secondhandheroesva@gmail.com. Note, secondhandheroesva@gmail.com. That's 2ND, handheroesva@gmail.com. Come game with us. Tease Treats is a food truck service that operates out of Mount Airy, North Carolina. They serve decadent, delicious ice cream treats, hot dogs, chicken tenders, chicken sandwiches, nachos, funnel cakes, and so much more. They can be in multiple locations at the same time, available for festivals, athletic tournaments, concerts, or any gathering. When it comes to delicious quality and reasonable prices, you can't go wrong with Tease Treats. You can find out more about Tease Treats at facebook.com/Tease Treats, or you can give them a call at 336-755-8204. You'll find out that Tease Treats are not only the best concessions in wrestling, but the best concessions anywhere.
Welcome back to AIWF Mid-Atlantic Breakdown. Rick Diesel, Reagan Danzig, and our very special guest this week, one of the original top referees from the AIWF, Hall of Famer, Mr. Bill Holliday. How you doing, Bill?
Doing pretty good. How you guys doing?
I'm doing great, Reagan.
Doing pretty good.
She
Yeah,
freezes
doing
up
good.
every once in a while, but she's with
Are you
us.
talking about it's because every single person in my house is on something that's on the internet. Every child, every adult. So it happens.
You don't realize until you start looking at it, because when I changed internet services over, I had to reprogram everything. You don't realize how many things you have on your internet, Wi-Fi's and stuff, until you have to do that.
Yeah.
You only think it's one or two. Next thing you know, it's like 20.
Yeah, that's true.
Crazy. Yeah, I get nervous every time I
wait,
send my computer to the
I got to do
repair
something real
shop.
quick.
I don't know what they'll find.
I got to get a character.
Ah, there you go.
Oh,
That's a classic, buddy.
Oh yeah, that's a '90s thing right there.
yeah, I like that. I like that.
Speaking of the 90s,
Oh yeah.
Bill, I know you got some good stories from way back in the day. You refereed some of the best matches in the AIWF. You dealt with some of the names that come through.
Oh yeah.
You were right out there for all of it. So, is there anything that comes to mind that you just been wanting to tell people about, a good story, or you know what I'm saying, from inside the ring, outside the ring, traveling. We don't care because fans just want to hear all about those wild days back then.
Well, I remember not some shows y'all had back. Reagan was talking about she missed the traveling days.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, those were some interesting times. A couple I can remember right now is Rick. You can jump in here too. War, West Virginia. We got there. A bunch of us got there early and got things set up. But you was, I think, coming in on the truck that broke down.
Yes.
And y'all had to change everything on that truck, the ring, from one truck to another truck. And we were sitting there waiting. We just, back then, cell phones were non-existent.
Right.
So we didn't know where you guys were. So meanwhile, the people that were there, if you ever think about War, West Virginia, Mount Airy, take that and cut that in a quarter. That's about the size of how it was. So a bunch of the ladies, a bunch of the guys took off and just ride up and down through town, just basically just hollering, wrestling tonight, at the high school, wrestling tonight at the high school. So get there and look at the town. You think you're going to have 50 people there. Well, you guys finally showed up, and I think it was about an hour before bell time.
Yeah. And
it's like an assembly line, getting that ring in there, setting that thing up. But we got there, we got it set up and ready to go. Next thing you know, we probably had 300-400 people in there.
400. I did not have any idea that there was that many people could come out of those mountains.
I did not either. It shocked me. But I want to tell you what. Another thing too is some of the people that lived in West Virginia. My wife was there for a couple of years. JT Sledge's wife was from there. Basically told the guys, don't mention anything about inbred or marrying your wife or anything like that, because no telling what's going to happen. Well, there's a few you can't say that to. And one of them was Don Carson.
I was going to say
was Jackie Anderson.
Jackie Anderson, both of them.
I was going to say this has to be a Don Carson story.
Oh yeah, that was the first promo was a cut. That's what they was talking about. And but I want to honestly tell you that show, the amount of people, it was probably one of the rowdiest crowds we've ever had in AIWF, but was probably one of the most well-mannered crowds we ever had.
Yeah.
And this was some of the guys. Don Carson was one of them. Got up in the bleachers. He was going, him and I can't remember who he wrestled, but they was up in the bleachers, and nobody touched anybody. But that was a rowdy crowd. But that trip right there was something else.
That crowd, they were loud. They were they were into the show. They come to watch wrestling. We give them a good show.
We gave them a great show.
They were very respectful to the wrestlers.
I think they were basically, I basically put it toward the Monday night Raw after WrestleMania. Very vocal, but they knew what their job was, and that was to be entertained and leave the wrestlers alone and let everything go. And they did. They got a great job. I enjoyed that. I got across. Remember, Rick, we had Brandy Wine. I think was it Foxy Lady?
Could have been. I can't remember. I remember.
Yeah. It was probably about 10, 12 years after that. I ran across Brandy Wine on social media. And I just happened to hop on there and says, Brandy, you remember me, AIWF referee? Oh, yeah. I said, do you remember War, West Virginia? She said, that place scared the hell out of me. But it did. But it was a great show up there. Then we had, talking about traveling, that way we stayed there in West Virginia. We had Beckley the next day.
That was the night of the big hotel party.
Yeah. It had the whole floor. What is the second or third floor? The whole floor.
The top floor of the hotel, every room but one room, and there was these two girls staying in that one room, and they were afraid to come out all night. Because that was the night Body Count almost killed me over a chicken wing.
Yeah, and he had I don't know how many beers, but he got a beer, where we normally have a mug, he has a pitcher. That was his mug. Yeah.
As a beer mug.
Yep.
He was he was huge.
Yeah.
Body Count was I don't know. He had to be over 6.5 feet tall. He was tall.
And he wasn't, he was stocky too. He wasn't fat or nothing. He was stocky.
You know what he does now?
No.
He runs a business. I think it's called East Tennessee Distillery.
Oh.
he runs a distillery out in near Piney Flats, Tennessee, and it is huge. They have big bands come in for concerts. He dresses up like a hillbilly. You need to look it up. I think it's called East Tennessee Distillery, and
check that out.
it's very successful, very successful. And I don't know, somebody could have been just blowing smoke up my butt, but they told me one time that he contributes a lot to the AIWF of the fact that got him out of his shell.
Yeah.
We would put him out there talking to people, with put a microphone in his hand. Somebody told me that he contributes a lot to the AIWF, him learning how to talk to people and open up to people, and it really helped him in the business world. Now, they could be lying to me, but I've been meaning to ride out there one day and ask him myself.
Yeah.
I will someday, but it's a lot.
Where's that around Knoxville and Johnson City?
Yeah, it's near Johnson. It's closer to Johnson City. I think it's out around Piney Flats, which is where J.D. Anderson come from.
Right.
But it's near Johnson City in that area. So yeah, it's. I've looked up their website one time. It's really cool. So yeah, Body Count, man. He's very successful. Body Count,
I think wasn't he in the match that broke the ring in Elkin?
Yes, him and Major Havoc.
Right. I think Havoc got choke slammed through the ring.
Yeah, it was their fault that we had to prop the ring up with cinder blocks that night.
Yeah, we had half the ring was hard as a brick, and the other half will give it a little bit.
Yeah. We finished the show.
That's
Everybody
it.
Had a good time. Yeah.
Oh, we're talking about finished show. Remember Moxville? Somebody, let's see, they were bringing a ring in because Doug was wanting to maybe buy a ring. And they brought the ring in, set it up, and the first time they hit the ropes, it loosened them. You remember that?
Seemed like Ricky
Moore was on that show.
I kind of remember that 30 years.
Yeah. And most of the guys got in and worked, and Rick, being the professional he is, got in the ring. As soon as the bell rung, him and whoever was fighting went outside the ring. They done all the whole match on the outside of the ring. There was no ropes to run. I mean, you couldn't run the ropes. It was so saggy.
Yeah. I remember.
Yeah, I remember.
It seemed like I remember something about that.
I remember when we were speaking of rings breaking, we were at my friends and I, when we were just started coming around, we went to the show where Biker Outlaw went through the ropes. They broke. It was Smith Grove.
Smith Grove, yeah.
Yeah.
That was scary.
We moved all the ropes up and put barbed wire around the bottom.
I always got barbed wire handy. You got to have barbed wire around for Brian.
Yes. That was we kept a spool in the truck at all times in case we needed it for something back in the day.
But man, traveling, I mean, West Virginia, coming up here to Martinsville, Mount Airy, Smith Grove, you name it, was all over almost every weekend. Every
weekend in 4 states.
Yeah.
For a long time in the 90s, we traveled, and there was plenty of times that Brian Reagan was with me at times. We'd come over that mountain. I've said it before, over that mountain on 77 as the sun was coming up.
Yeah. You used to make the trip from Mount Airy up here to do the TV show
for years.
Saturday.
For several years, I did that every Saturday morning, and then I would come home, load the ring, and go to somewhere in North Carolina, Virginia, West Virginia, or Tennessee for a show that night.
Then we picked up the show up here.
That's why I'm so broke down and old now. Whew.
Oh yeah, them miles wear on you.
So yeah, but it was fun though. Like not just like the wrestling in other places, but just like you were saying, or like the road trip and just being with everybody and just that part of it was really fun because like we had said last week with Smash Kane, it was like we were a caravan of just all these people together just going to the same place, and it, that was one of my fond memories, was being around.
It's like they always say, it's not the destination, it's the journey getting there.
Yes.
Then coming back home trying to find a Waffle House.
Oh my God! Would you? I was
a lot of them in West Virginia,
or finding gas. Like a gas station was open. So, because I remember when we went to Bradshaw, like we were going, because Bill, you might not remember this. You were driving my dad's big red van because there was a whole bunch of us in it, and we couldn't find a gas station, and we were on fumes. So it was. I think we finally got near, I guess, probably 77 and found one. But it was. I remember going through some town, and it was just like not a light on, like not even a whisper of a light. So those parts of West Virginia were very interesting, to say the least.
Oh yeah, talking about that. There was Bradshaw also. There was some good shows there in Bradshaw.
Ah, yes.
Now
And
those
you
crowds were not good. Those crowds, some kid kicked me in the gut. Yeah, I was down, and some kid reared back and kicked me like a football in the side. So. But that place was wild. So
Yeah, it was. Especially, I think Rick, you was hauled off by the police, and who else was it? I think he got Don Carson too.
No, it was me, Creeping Death, and the Stalker.
Oh, okay.
He was screaming.
Because that was the night that I had that match with the police chief.
Yes,
and they handcuffed us
yes.
because I was trying to get his gun.
Oh yeah. Oh, let me tell you this story. Let me tell them the story about this. Well, when he comes to the ring, he has his holster on, and I tell him, you got to take that off. So he wraps it up and puts it on the side of the ring. Well, you guys lock up, go at it for about in between 5-10 minutes, just going at it. And he keeps doing some stuff to you. You just get frustrated. Next thing you know, you go outside the ring, grab that pistol, and point it at him. And I didn't know what's going to go on then. Then all of a sudden, there was a couple extra sheriffs. They grab you. Next thing you know, there's handcuffing you. While he was getting handcuffed, Reagan, he was trying to pick that pistol up with his teeth. He was going after that thing. And they hauled him off, put him and the other two in there. And what's your adventure in that in the police car?
Oh, they took us down. They took us down Main Street, and there was like a big party. I think it was a prom party or something at a place down Main Street. And they rolled the windows down so that the people could laugh at us. And we was yelling at them outside the police car. So
You was calling what, police brutality?
yeah, I think I said something about this ain't no way to treat people from out of town, and I don't know. And the kids laughing at us and throwing stuff. I mean, God Almighty, good times.
Was that wasn't the show? The next show, I think, is the one you found yourself out in an old rusted out trash can outside.
That was the night I thought I was going to die in West Virginia because I run out that back door and there was no supports, no steps. And I kept thinking, it was like, I can only compare it to Wile E. Coyote when you run off of a mountain. I just sort of hung there in midair for a second and then fell chest first across a 50-gallon metal trash can.
All
Thank
rusted
God
out.
it was rusted because it collapsed underneath me. And I remember just trying to catch my breath and rolling over, and I was in grass that was high. And I looking up at the sky and looking at the stars. And I remember saying, well, this is it. I'm going to die in West Virginia because they can't find me. And they found me.
One of the shows, is that the show that you wrestled Brooks?
Yeah, maybe I can't. We did several up there, and I can't really remember.
Well, I remember.
forgot.
I don't know if Reagan remembers this or not, but we was in the locker room. The locker room was across the street, up in the top floor.
Yeah, where the fire trucks, they put the fire trucks in the bottom.
We was up there, and Brooks come in, and he said, "Oh, I'm gonna show you guys this." So he pulls his t-shirt up, and he has nipples pierced. And everybody looked at him, shook his head, and says, "You don't do that, man, when you wrestle." So nothing else was said. You wrestled him that night. Got in the ring. Y'all went at it. And you're typical. You get him over in the corner. He has a T-shirt, so you grab it, pull it up over his head. Next thing you know, you see 2 black pieces of tape. I just remember, I'll never forget the expression on your face when you turned around and looked at me. It's almost like, what the hell is this? And I just said, I don't know. And you just laid into him.
That's one of my favorite memories because I don't remember what Brooks wrestled. I don't remember what his
I can't either.
wrestling name was, but he deserved it. He He deserved that.
You,
Every
you
bit of
bring,
that.
you wear
He
nipple
deserved
rings. Somebody like me, some
Oh
old
yeah.
old butthole is going to chop you in them nipple rings as hard as he can, and I did.
Oh yeah.
Because
You laid into it.
if you hadn't mentioned it, because I think he dress like a Hardy when
Yeah,
so
he had a skin tight
he
shirt
had
on.
Yeah.
those shirts. So if he hadn't have like bragged about them, like nobody had ever known, and then Rick wouldn't have had to. Phew, I remember that.
Try to
that was
embed him in his chest. I don't know, but you know, Bill, you was there. You was there at the marina,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
For the infamous Steve Niles Terminator X
Oh,
in
yeah.
the lake match.
Yes.
What did you ref that match?
I reffed them all.
What
Yeah.
do you remember about that? Because I thought one of them, because all we heard was stories about if you ever go in the lake and you can't get out, they'll never find you. And one of them ended up in the lake and it was dark and we didn't know if we'd ever get them out again.
Well, the whole match went off, typical TX and Niles match. And next thing you know, they started going down the pier. Now, it was supposed to have been Niles that went in the water. But as it was going, he basically told TX, I can't swim. So basically, TX had him reverse it and threw Tony in the water. But
that's the story I heard. I didn't know.
Yeah. He made it out though. But yeah, that was the night Pittman was there, I believe.
Brian and Pittman went. Brian
Yep.
Danzig, Craig Pittman. That was the match that they had that night.
Yep.
Because that
Yeah,
was a
I
big
remember
build
that.
up to that one too.
Were y'all on the beach? Like, where was the
Oh, yeah.
ring?
We were probably no more than I'd say 20 yards from the water.
Yeah. They had a grassy area out between the water and the parking lot, and we set up
Yep.
there. And the crowd was around us. And it was a wild night. Of course, just
yeah.
one of many wild nights back
If
then.
you, being around the water, somebody had to go in that water.
Oh, I'm surprised. Those guys were the only ones that was brave enough to, honestly, after dark.
I wouldn't
because
have gotten in that water after dark.
Not me. I heard
It
too
had
many
to be-
stories about, that's where they hide the bodies from Virginia. So
Well, thank goodness TX made it out.
Yeah.
now, we still got about 6 minutes. You've come to some shows nowadays. You've been to some shows the last couple of years.
Yeah.
How do you compare back in the day, in the 90s, to today, wrestler-wise, match-wise? If you
Well-
had to just sit and apples and oranges, each one of them, how would you break it down?
Back in the day, I would say there was a lot of things you can do back then. We run a lot of good storylines to a lot of things. And having the same guys every week showing up, you can do things. I noticed the times I've come up to the shows up there, it's almost like half the roster's different. You maybe got a handful that's there, but then it's like, how do you really build storylines around somebody that you might not see for another month or two?
Yeah.
Talent-wise, though, they're good. You guys, there was some good talent coming here. I'm impressed with a lot of the matches and stuff. But that's the only thing I could see, being able to build something, especially with the TV shows too. We built some good storylines with the TV shows. You just can't. It seems like it's hard to do right now. I believe what you've got now. Some of your ones that show up very often, you probably can, but most of them is tough. But I can say one thing: you don't travel.
No, thank God.
No. But you know
I don't know
what?
if we could anymore, to be
I don't
honest
think I
with you,
could
like
either.
we used to.
Because I was thinking about back, way back, but you and Vern, I guess, were the refs when I started wrestling, and it was always so good because both you and Vern did such a good job of talking to us during the match and telling us what we needed to do, and I think that's something to kind of peel it back a little bit, is how much a ref really helps, like, for real in a match. like, keeping, not just keeping time, but being like, okay, you need to do this, you need to do that, or this is what's getting ready to happen. And both you and Vern did such a good job of not ever making that obvious. And I think it's something that people don't realize. I think sometimes they just think the ref's in there to do the 1, 2, 3, when they're really, like, if they're a good ref, like, being a pivotal part of getting the match through and stuff. So
a good ref is actually the third man in a match, or the fifth man in a tag match.
Yes.
I've always looked at being a ref. Now, that's the problem. What I saw over the years, some coming in, they want to be in the spotlight. That's, to me, that's not what a ref's job is. I mean, a ref's job is to do his job, just like Reagan said, what you said, but also to be not seen. You don't want to be part of what's going on there. That's them two going at it, or tag teams going at it. And I've noticed for the years that people want to come in. They say the refs want to get in. Next thing you know, the ref wants to fight. No, that's not your job. That's why I try to tell a lot of them when they come in. Your job is, just like Reagan said, help choreograph, get the matches going. That's the one thing I really, really didn't like a lot, is because I couldn't get involved as much with some of the stuff because I was in the ring the whole time. Then Vern come in and helped out a lot. That way I could be able to go back there and talk with the guys and talk with the ladies and, find out this match and what you got going on here, maybe make a suggestion or two. Then when we get in there, talk about that. One thing I remember so well, Rick, you may be able to tell me if this is true. Don Carson never liked taking chops.
No, he did not.
I don't doubt that.
Him and Robert Roma had a match there in Elkin. Well, they locked up. I separated them. As I pushed them back, Roma told me 2 chops out of the ring. Well, I didn't say nothing about the chops because I know he was going to buck on them things. So I just told him, says, Roma, come in and go out of the ring. So basically, he got chopped twice. He come and looked at me. He said, "Did Roma tell you?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "If I told you that, you would never took them, would you?" He said, "No." So, but yeah, it's a lot more, just like you said, Reagan, than just going in there and waiting for the finish and counting. That's it. But I think that's part of I see the lost art a lot of times, that the refs, I think they come into it thinking that's all their job is, but there's more to it than that.
All right, we got about another minute we can talk, because we time this and we don't just drag it out forever.
Okay.
In your opinion, Bill, what was your favorite match that you refed in the AIWF?
Well, I cannot put one on there. I'll tell you a couple, and probably the top one that will come to my mind was yours and Brian's very first barbed wire match.
Mount Airy.
Mount Airy. I remember doing that, and we were ringing up the taking down the ropes, putting the barbed wire up, and one of the fans, "Oh, it's fake barbed wire." I walked over and showed it to him and said, "That's not fake." We finished ringing it up. Then the match Sweet Daddy and Steve Niles had at FC, I think probably my best two right there. But anytime you, Brian, Daniel Mays, Don Carson, TVA, anytime you guys are in the ring. I mean, and I'll admit right now, I'm more entertained by you guys than most of all the names that we had come in.
Good deal. All right, well, we got to wind it down. Bill, maybe we can get you back on again on a future episode. We can talk some more. I tell you what, we'll bring you back so you can talk about the cage match with Buddy Landale someday.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So anyway, all right, we're going to get out of here. Bill, thanks so much for stopping by. Like I said, we'll get you back. Reagan, once again, awesome co-host. For Reagan, Bill Holiday, I am Rick Diesel, and we'll see you next week on the Mid-Atlantic Breakdown.